Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Pitch Strike Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tats. I'm here with Robinho and Donald, and the Yankees again drop another series. I'll be happy when we stop playing some National League teams, because those are the teams that we're kind of struggling against. Because the National League was projected to be the better league throughout the year, of the baseball calendar, and the Yankees were supposed to be still, regardless of all the mishaps and missed opportunities in the offseason, was still supposed to be at the top of the American League, due to lack of competition. I'm not seeing lack of competition throughout the league. I'm seeing a lack of competitiveness within our own organization. And I think that the guy at the helm is the veteran of Carlos Rodon. He, yet again, looks really good. And then it takes one walk or a hit, and he completely unravels. And that is something that's not sustainable. It really isn't. You should not, at your tenure of being a major league pitcher, get that rattled off of one rough inning. And it just completely just drew all the momentum of the game. And I know there were 3 games, but yesterday was the one that really just pissed me off, because Rodon was looking really good. And it just took one inning, and just everything he did the previous innings were completely forgotten, were a non-factor. Because it's always that one friggin' inning that causes him to just completely implode. I don't understand how you have that type of mentality when you have that type of, when you have that many years under your belt. You expect this from a rookie trying to figure out how to mentally handle having the ups and downs of a season. Rodon should be well past that. And I think this is just pretty much who he is. Guys, I don't know if you guys agree with me. Donald, I see you nodding your head in complete agreement. Rob was as well. But Donald, this should be, all right, I gave up a walk, I gave up a hit. I'm just gonna go after the next batter and get out of an inning. That's where he should be at this stage of his career.
To quote the Water Boy, "Oh no, we suck again." But listen, Rodon, this is who he is. Tats, you nailed it in one. This is who he is. Now, I'm not saying that he's a bad pitcher, because he's actually very good. He's got a very nice fastball slider combo. Occasionally, he looks kind of unhittable. Unfortunately, by and large, most starts that you see from him, 90 out of 100 pitches, you look pretty good. But those 10 pitches will be a disaster, and it will cost us. And it happens pretty much every single time. And you can basically pencil it in. He's going to give up a 2-3 run home run every single start, because that's just what he does. And it'll come out of nowhere. He'll put you in a false sense of security going, wow, these first 3-4 innings, he's cooking here, man. He's mowing them down. He looks good. This is a really good Giants lineup. And for the first, 4 innings or whatever, he was making them look kind of bad. And then he just, some starts he implodes. I didn't even count last night in his implosion. It was just he walked a couple guys and then left one of the dumbest pitches out over the plate you could ever leave, especially to this guy that's hitting and crushing him right now. So it was a mistake. It was a mistake pitch, and that's just who he is. Unfortunately, this is exactly who Rodon is. He's not an ace. He's not a B. He's not a 1B. He's a number 3 starter in the American League. Maybe worse than that in the National League. He had that one great year in the Giants, and it was freaking great. We paid him an extraordinary amount of money based on that season in the Giants, really, and he's not lived up to it. I'm not saying he's a bad dude. He's actually a pretty good dude. I think he really wants to do well. But unfortunately, this is who he is, and we just have to suck it up.
There's an alarming stat that was put out there by Katie Sharp last night. Since the start of last year, Rodon has pitched 36 regular season games, 36 homers, 69 walks, 10 hit batters. The last Yankee to reach those stats in any 36 game span was AJ Burnett in 2010 through 2011.
Wow.
So it's rough because, like you said, he is a good pitcher. Like he had 5 brilliant innings yesterday, and then into the sixth, he completely just shut down. Like you said earlier, Tats, the one walk and everything just fell apart. He had that little dribbler that Volpe couldn't get. The guy would have beat the throw anyway, probably. And then you leave a curveball right over the middle to one of their hottest hitters. Jung-Hoo Lee's a good damn player, and he took advantage of he killed us the entire series. And then just yesterday to leave a curveball like that just hanging over the plate. Well, you could put it on both of them. It's over. That's what I just said. You look at Volpe's play. He misplayed the ball at short, and then you still can't be like it's not Rodon's fault for leaving a hanging curveball over the plate. Now, he made a bad pitch. It was a bad inning. It was a very 2024 Yankees like inning where bad defensive play and then the pitcher implodes. So it was both.
Exactly. Well, could you, for its over's benefit, could you repeat the amount of home runs that Rodon's given up lately?
In the last 36 starts, 36. So he's giving up a home run per start.
Exactly. It's over. I mean, you could give him a pass, but that's a lot of home runs to give up. That's far more than normal. So let's not give Rodon the benefit of the doubt because there was a couple of misplays out there. That's on him, man. That hanging curveball is on him, especially to the one guy that's crushing him. So I'm sorry. Absolutely not acceptable. Plus, just look what he did in the playoffs, man. He wasn't exactly shut down in the playoffs either. So.
Right. And that wasn't the defense's fault.
No, not at all.
Well, that's
unfortunately, this is kind of what he is, and it's not $27 million a year. It's unfortunate. So, yeah, you know what, Ken, you're right, because they walk a lot. And Will Warren has done it in his previous starts. We've seen Carrasco be a victim of it. Max Fried's kind of the only one that hasn't really been victimized by a little bit in his first start, but he was still pretty decent. It's just been a case where every Yankee starter, when they start to walk guys, it was pretty rough. Must have snacks. Want you to make him a mod.
I just saw you in the chat. I got you, bro. But it's yeah. Believe me, I'm a big snacker at night. I actually do enjoy that name. I think him and Pete are cousins. No, look, if
Alex
it was just yesterday,
Alex is asking who's replacing Stroman. Schmidt, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we're gonna get into Stroman.
Yeah, with Schmidt starting on the 16th.
Yeah,
it's already been announced. He's starting the final game of this Royal Series.
Before we break down more stuff, the chat's starting to build up a little bit. So let's start with a little morning roll call. How about that? Get it early so we get to get the chat involved. Jonathan, always first thing in the morning. Now, he's doing pretty good this time. 9:25 a.m. Full 35 minutes before the show
he overslept.
That's definitely what we're looking for, Jonathan. That's a good start, bro. Let's keep it up. We're going to have to give out an award for him. If he continues this to be the very first poster, that's what we're going to do. The award for the very first poster in the chat. We'll get a gift. How about that, Taz and Rob? You think that's a good idea?
What's the gift? What are they getting?
I don't know. We'll come up with something. I mean, we've got a long season ahead. We've got to do something to keep this interesting because the Yankees are going to lose a lot of series. Stevie B, what's up? How's it going? FJ, how are you? Ken, good to see Ken in the chat. John the Beagle Dad, how are you? Joe Coelho, how are you? We got, obviously, it's over. Salute. We got Alex in the chat. Big Blue in the Bronx. Got to sub up to his channel. Must Have Snacks. Good to see Must Have Snacks in the chat. He's saying hello. FJ's not confident with Carrasco versus Lugo. Anything involving Carlos Carrasco, I am not confident with. So absolutely agree with that. Egyptian Magician, Cold Italian Pizza, Stevie B. Salute to all you guys. If you could all do us a favor, please hit the like button. Hit the sub button for folk that are watching it that haven't subbed up yet and maybe want to join us in the chat. Anything like that. Please share it out. We're trying to grow it up. We're trying to get the numbers up. So we want to have more people in the chat so we can share our channel with all of you guys. But from our bottom of our hearts, we do really thank you for joining us in the mornings. It really means a lot to us, and just thank you. Thank you.
And also, real quick, I'm gonna bring this comment up from Must Have Snacks. There is a Discord. A lot of you in our chat are already in it, but it is a free. It's run by Must Have Snacks in Yankees country. So please join the Discord, join the community. They're doing great work to help a lot of the YouTube community grow and expand and reach new people. So it's something that we enjoy reaching out to everybody and meeting new people as well. So you'll catch a lot of your favorite YouTube channels in the chat from time to time. So check out the Discord. And Ted Finch trying to keep up with Ken Claus. Member for 5 months. Appreciate you, Dev. You are the best.
Absolute GOAT. He's the OG. And Ken has gifted Infight Chronicles membership. We really do appreciate you all stepping up for us, man. And hopefully we pay you with the good content in return. Big thank you, guys. Once again, please hit the like and sub button. Right, let's get started. We got a lot to break down.
Now, just real quick, because I want to get into Stroman and his, I don't even know what to even call it.
Clown.
His appearance, because he didn't pitch. He just made an appearance on the mound. Lynn, no, we did not forget you. Don't forget to also check
no!
the upper deck.
That's on me.
But to It's Over's comment, I'm going to go through a lot of the comments as the show goes on. Towards the end, we'll pick out a few and break them down with years. But It's Over comment, because I thought that was one that kind of really stuck out a little bit. Not that none of you guys do. The reason that we're so on Rodon, it's not because of yesterday. It's a reoccurring problem. That's what. If it was just yesterday, we would have come in with a completely different analysis of how he did not get the support in defense that led to that one inning. This is a reoccurring problem. That's why it's Rodon over and over and over again.
I think it's worse than Rodon. he's horrible. Ken, he's doing a little bit better each day, so I appreciate you asking. Stroman sucks, man. I don't know what else to say. I was hoping for a different outcome this year, but I know he's got that knee problem, but he's been bad before that. I think there was a stat that Chris Kirshner might have put out that he's over the last 90 innings, or anyone over the last 8 months or so, or 10 months that has thrown 90 innings or more, no one has a higher ERA than Stroman. So he's been statistically the worst pitcher in baseball since last June. And that's right when his second half, not even his second half, but his June swoon started. And since then, he's been unusable. So I don't know what they're going to do with him. At some point, you might have to consider just releasing him. This way you get out of the contract for next year. And any hope that I don't think he'll ever reach. I don't think he'll reach 140 at this rate with us or with any team. No one's going to claim him. So that might be the only way you get out of this, is just to let him go. And eventually he'll sign with another team. But anyone's an improvement over him right now. And I know it's unfortunate that if he is hurt or if it's a phantom injury, I don't want to make any assumptions, but that start was brutal. And especially, this is a guy that was coming into the year. I'm not a reliever. I'm a starter. I'm not competing for a job. I'm preparing to go 180 innings, this and that. He was talking the talk, and I was kind of like, all right, go and prove it. And he's done the complete opposite of that. He's been worse than he was last year. Because last year he was pretty bad in the second half, but he was not this bad. And every time he goes out on the mound, you're just kind of like, all right, what's he going to do? I said to Donald like 2 weeks ago, it's like watching paint dry with him pitching because he's not creative. He tries to get the corners. He tries to get the edges. And if he doesn't, he's just throwing like 92, missing. He's getting tagged or he's walking guys. And there was a point where he was a good pitcher, but lately he's just been bad. And I think the Yankees really have to consider if Schmidt looks good in his first couple of starts back, if Carrasco is able to be somewhat usable, and Will Warren picks up a kind of a good streak of starts after his last outing, he was really good. Where does Stroman fit? Because at this point, Alan Winans is an improvement over Marcus Stroman, and he hasn't even pitched an inning for the Yankees. So it's like addition by subtraction by putting him on the IL. He stinks. He flat out stinks, and it's a damn shame because I thought the contract was reasonable when they signed him last year. Yeah. Turns out it was a complete and utter bust, mispayment, and the Yankees have a couple of those in their rotation right now with Rodon and Stroman. That's a lot of money tied to guys who are not giving you anywhere close to the value that they were signed for.
I got to disagree with this comment from Michael Thorpe, but I do appreciate the comment, and thank you for checking in. But this comment I don't agree with. People need to start blaming Matt Blake. What exactly is Matt Blake supposed to do with this rotation? I mean, obviously we've lost some of the key arms that any organization would struggle with, to be honest. Losing a Luis Gil, losing a Garrett Cole, losing a Clark Schmidt. Glad he's coming back, but very few teams could rebound from that. But what exactly is Matt Blake supposed to do with this rotation? Look at the numbers that Stroman's giving up. He is garbage. He is garbage. Stuff Plus has the metric that Marcus Stroman and Cookie Carrasco's stuff is among the worst in all of baseball. Matt Blake isn't a miracle worker. He's pretty close, but no one can turn chicken shit into chicken salad. It's not possible. And Marcus Stroman's got bad stuff. It's as simple as that. Blame the player. Cookie Carrasco has been bad far before the Yankees, man. It's been 2 years. He's been awful. 2 years. The Yankees were just hoping that they could maybe make a miracle happen, catch lightning in a bottle. But it's not happened thus far. That's not Matt Blake's fault. Blame the Yankees for not having more depth, better depth than this. Rodon, this is who Rodon is. Can't blame Matt Blake for that, I'm afraid. So I'm sorry. This is the rotation we have. We built this rotation, and it's on the player to do better. There's nothing Matt Blake can do about it. Matt Blake has turned a lot of arms around. He's one of the top 2-3 pitching coaches in the league. I think he's brilliant. I think he's actually one of the only coaches that we actually employ who's in the top, in the elite area of anything. He is definitely elite at what he does. But in this occasion, it's down to the player, and we just don't have much depth, and that's on the Yankees, and that's on injuries, of course, as well.
I was going to say it's more on the injuries. I think the coaching staff, you have to give a little bit of a pass. I don't want to give them a complete blank check where there's no blame. But this was not the rotation that we were supposed to come into the year with. We're down Cole, Schmidt, and Heel right now. So how are we? What are you supposed to do? Rose Stroman wasn't even an option until the pitches started going down. He wasn't supposed to be in the rotation. Neither was Carrasco. Warren, congrats on his first win, but he was somebody that we were hoping to get a little glimpse of, but we weren't supposed to be relying on those three guys of Stroman, Carrasco, and Warren. We were not supposed to be relying on this year. This was a situation that the coaching staff got forced upon them due to the injuries. So, really, if you really want to put any blame on anybody, it should be Cashman for not making the proper moves to improve the depth.
Well, to be fair, even the depth got hurt.
Yeah.
So, like JT Brubaker, who has decent stuff, is hurt again. Chase Hampton who's a guy that probably would have been ready closer to this year than a lot of our other arms, hurt. Tommy John, Clayton Beater, even though they want to use him as a relief pitcher, they probably would have no choice right now, hurt.
True.
So that's 3 potential starters right there that are currently on the shelf. And we don't know when they're well, we know Hampton won't be back. And Brubaker, every time they say it's going to be like a week, he's now on the 60-day IL. So who knows if we'll ever see him. So if the depth is hurt, they lost 3 starters before opening day. Then 3 depth guys got hurt. You really can't be like, this is all on Cashman, because Carrasco was supposed to be just extra depth. And he looked fantastic in the spring, so I can't blame them for putting him on the roster. It's not Cashman's fault that he stinks right now. So I don't want to put this on Brian Cashman. How can you? I say this all the time. It's easy to say you need to have a plan B, plan C, but when you get to like, now you got to have plan J, K, L, like it's almost impossible to plan for 6, 7 injuries to your starting pitching depth and be like, we're going to have another 3 guys that are good enough waiting in the wings. No, Rodon has to be better. He has to pitch to the contract he was given. Stroman has to be better. There should be little to no expectation on Carrasco because he's 37 and he was a minor league signing, and Will Warren's a rookie. So putting him in any sort of category that he has to be like Luis Gil last year, you're going to set yourself up for disappointment. He's not the same pitcher as Gil. And I think Will Warren was actually really good in his last start. He's had 2 decent starts and a couple of clunkers. He's a rookie. Things happen. He wasn't good last year at all, and he's been somewhat better this year. But these are the growing pains you got to go through with younger players. And a lot of people were saying, Will Warren's here. We don't need Stroman anymore. So now what do? You wanted Warren. You got Warren. You got to live with it. He hasn't been great, but then again, outside of Fried, this rotation's been shit. So
really bad.
How can you blame Cashman for not having like 8 other potential starting pitchers? I can't blame the GM for that.
To be fair, I can't blame Cashman for the Marcus Stroman signing. That is a complete
that you can blame him for.
Terrible signing, never should have happened, and it was questionable at the time. It's not like Monday morning quarterbacking, because when that move was made, we were all dumbfounded, and we were thinking there has to be more to this. This can't be the only signing. And that was precisely the only signing. So that I can absolutely blame on Brian Cashman, because there were better arms available last year for cheaper. One in which Shota Imanaga of the Cubs we could have had. We keep complaining about, the Yankees aren't cornering the Asian market. Well, Shota Imanaga was available. He led the Japanese league in strikeouts last year, and we passed on him for Marcus Stroman, who can't pitch. He can't do anything other than lay an egg on the mound anymore. We didn't even want him on the freaking playoff roster. That's completely on Brian Cashman. The only thing I had also look at Brian Cashman would be, I really don't understand what's going on with his medical staff. How is it that 60% of all our pitchers are hurt all the time? There has to be something going on. I think there's more to this than meets the eye. It's more than just a coincidence that we're now at plan X, Y, and Z with pitching, because everybody seems to get hurt. And we already saw what happened with Giancarlo Stanton in the offseason. They were just sort of like, oh, you can't pick up everyday items? That's fine. Just catch up with us in 3 months. I'm sure you'll be okay. So I think that I can look at Brian Cashman, absolutely. But by and large, Rob's right. Once you get into the X, Y, and Z, I'm not going to blame them for Cookie Carrasco. I'm not going to blame them for Will Warren, who is who he is. I think this is who he is. I think he's a solid starter. He doesn't have elite stuff though, so he needs to have pinpoint command. Right. He isn't like a Luis Gil, who's like he can just unleash and be elite at the sport right out of the bat. Will Warren is more of a number 3, number 4 starter, and there's nothing wrong with that. So this is pretty much in line with what he is.
Exactly. So Neil, you say malfeasance one more time. I'm timing you out. We can't. Again, I can't be like this is Cashman's fault. Could he have added one more minor league signing, like a veteran arm? Sure, you can make that argument, but at the same, let's say they did bring in like a Kyle Gibson or a Lance Lynn, and Lance Lynn made the team simply because they had no other options, and he came out and was pitching like crap. You'd be like, Brian Cashman only dumpster dives, but that's all he had a choice of at that stage in the offseason. But going back to last year, could he have gotten somebody else over Stroman? Absolutely. They could have traded for Dylan Cease. I mean, I was getting attacked for saying that. You can't trade that for Dylan Cease. He's one good year. Dylan Cease is about to get paid like a maniac in the offseason. So I'm just saying there were options out there, and they didn't go get those options. We can't keep going back in the past, but what's up, Luca? But yeah, it sucks. Watching this pitching is rough. Outside of Max Fried, there's really nobody that sparks excitement. And for 5 innings yesterday, we got that out of Rodon. We were like, okay, that's the pitcher that we expected to get more times than not. And then one pitch ruined everything. I won't blame the error on him. Obviously, he had a ground ball, should have probably got made the play, but that curveball to Lee, absolutely blame him. It was a terrible pitch to a really good player.
Duran says, Donald, the pitching injuries are a league-wide plague. Every frickin' team in the majors and minors are dealing with pitching injuries. Right, but I did also point out that whole Stanton thing. And there's not one argument that can be made that they handled the Stanton injury well during this offseason. So clearly there's things that the Yankee medical staff needs to be better at. I think sometimes we as fans should be calling out the organization, and it doesn't make you a bad fan for just kind of being, you know what, there's something just doesn't seem right in this area. I think they could work on that. So I'm gonna have to push back on you there, and Duran.
No, yeah, we understand it's a league-wide problem, but we're not breaking down the league. We're breaking down the Yankees.
Facts.
And it's not that, look, nobody wants injuries on any team. We've said that since the three of us have started doing this. You don't want to have an advantage because somebody got hurt. That's just poor sportsmanship. So it's really just breaking down the Yankees' issues with the injuries. What's going on, Jared? What's going on, Anna? We saw you come in late. Always good to see you in the chat. But it's really just simply the pitching staff has really, what was supposed to be a strength has turned into a nightmare. And you could try. Look, we just had put points out and have already had them, reputed. So, I have to retract now what I said about Cashman, because when you take a deeper look into it, instead of being reactionary, then you know what? There's really it's just bad luck. It's just going to be one of those seasons where there's going to be ups and downs, and we're just going to have to ride this out until we start getting some people healthy.
Plus, we traded away.
Then we'll have a better idea of what this team's going to look like.
Plus, we traded away a lot of depth. Depth. Some on some very bad trades. One of them being Efros that have just completely failed, but others have just been to make the big deal for Juan Soto, and you're never going to regret that deal ever.
No.
I even heard that people are saying we should have never traded for Stroman for 1
Complete
year.
revisionist history.
Michael King,
complete revisionist history, as if making the World Series for the first time since 2009 is something to be forgotten about.
Yeah, Juan Soto wasn't literally a generational player for us last year. Without Juan Soto, we don't sniff the ALCS at least. May not even win the division without Juan Soto. But no, let's redo the trade because Michael King had a complete game. Yeah, look. Let's stop doing that. Michael King he's great. He pitched really well for 9 starts, and the Yankees got Juan Soto out of it. No other pitcher on that list I think we're missing right now. We're not missing Brito. We're not missing Vasquez. Drew Thorpe is hurt, although I think he's got a lot of potential. Mm-hmm. But there's not a single player on that list that I would keep over trading for even 1 year of Juan Soto. So let's stop doing that. Let's go back in time and be like, sure wish we never traded King. Yeah, we can use King right now. But we also could have traded for Dylan Cease. We also could have traded for Corbin Burns last year. We could have signed multiple pitchers this year. The Yankees have the pockets. The Yankees told us they don't. So we're not going to go back in time and fix a trade that should have been made. 10 times out of 10, you make that goddamn trade for Juan Soto. Just like 10 times out of 10.
Of recent times where both teams benefit from it. That doesn't happen very often. And to be honest, how about, let's take it a step further. Could you imagine if the Soto deal doesn't go through purely because of Mike King? Yankee fans would have burnt Yankee Stadium to the ground.
Yeah.
We missed out on Juan Soto over Mike King.
My
And then
team
the
has one
Yankees,
bad start, and
exactly, and the Yankees
Cashman needs to get hung.
The Yankees would have ended up barely making the playoffs, if at all. They probably could have. They would have missed the playoffs last year, considering they missed it the year before that. So that's how important Soto was. You never, ever, ever walk back that trade. It's
Yep.
what the Yankees have done since then that we can pinpoint. Marcus Stroman, for instance, that's the kind of stuff that you can pinpoint.
Yep.
And it wasn't so much the signing with Stroman; it was the vested year. You know, the 140 innings hanging over over that cloud hanging over the Yankees. That's the part of the contract that's starting to really make it look a lot worse than it should have been. But Donald, I believe at this point of the show, it is ready for Donald's Awards.
Let's go! Let's go. Hit that like button, everybody. Right, okay, so this awards is going to be interesting because it wasn't exactly the most positive series to give awards on. So for me, I think it's almost without debate. The MVP for this particular series is not a Yankee, I'm afraid. No. I can't give in all good conscience, I cannot give the MVP to anyone other than Jung-Hoo Lee, who took over New York City for that entire series. He destroyed the Yankees. It was Jung-Hoo Lee against the Yankees, and Jung-Hoo Lee won 2 out of 3. So the MVP for this series, and it's almost without debate, is Jung-Hoo Lee.
Yep.
I actually did not have Lee as the MVP.
Go.
I was flip flop between the MVP and the low key. I gave the MVP to Rice. I think he's still continuing to show that he is a legitimate ball player. He's earning his place to be in the lineup every day, and he's real. You can just see every game he seems like he's improving on something. And bringing something to the table. So I stuck with a Yankee with Rice as the MVP.
That's Jung-Hoo Lee. Anna, speaking my language, last year we did our list of free agent targets.
Yep.
I had Jung-Hoo Lee on my list. I did. Nobody else did. I'm just saying. I'm going to pat my own back for a second. I wanted this dude in the Bronx. I knew he would be good, and he kicked our ass. I also put on Twitter he was a perfect fit for the Giants, and he beat the shit out of us in this series. So no doubt about it, he is the MVP.
How about a 352 batting average and a 1100 OPS, which puts him 4th in the majors? What? I just want to know where the Yankee scouts are, because how are the Yankees missing these guys? I've already named Imanaga, now mentioned Lee. The Yankees could have had them for cheap. They've gone all in on the big names who all want to go to the Dodgers. There's still talent out there. The Asian market is packed with talent. I would much rather take a flyer on one of these dudes than spend an extraordinary amount of money on some complete flaming dog turds like Marcus Stroman.
Yeah. Seiya Suzuki's another one from the Cubs.
Yep.
Yoshida, even though he doesn't play defense, but he's got a good bat. There's so many, and we can go on but this is the award segment, not who we should have signed from overseas, although we can go on for a very long time about that.
What about the fans? The fans have kind of got a bunch of other names, like Goldschmidt is listed as one, Ben Rice. Will Warren, some other people have gone with, but let's be perfectly fair. It's Lee. If we're talking about the MVP, he won them the series, so he's the MVP. Now, low key, I'm willing to talk some Yankees. So my low key, I'm going to go with Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt continues to be the one outstanding bat outside of Aaron Judge in this lineup. He's been fantastic, really. I'm amazed that the Giants actually pitched to Goldschmidt yesterday with the runners on with the runner at third base, and when I was like, the the most obvious move is to walk him and pitch to Jazz Chisholm, who's on an 0 for 20 odd streak at that time. But they pitched to him, and the first pitch was a beautiful RBI single, and I was like, well, that's on you guys, because that Goldschmidt is a really good RBI hitter, excellent hitter. He's doing the right things. He's the definition of the low key MVP. Because Aaron Judge is going to get a lot of the headlines, but I'll tell you what, the low key bat in this lineup has been Paul Goldschmidt. So salute to Goldschmidt, because to be honest, I doubted the signing, not his ability. He's always been one of my favorite players in all the baseball, but I was thinking maybe is he declining? No, he's very good, very very good, good signing.
Yeah, I had Goldschmidt for the low key as well. He's been everything we've needed him to be.
Clean sweep. I got Goldschmidt as well.
Yeah, Felix Nunez, he's a borderline Hall of Famer. He'll probably get in. He deserves it. He is a Hall of Famer, I think, and I think he'll definitely get in. Wonderful hitter. He's always been one of my favorite first basemen in all of baseball. When he was Captain America during the when we were playing the World Baseball Classic, I was like, I want him to be a Yankee so bad. I just wish we got him a couple of years before now, so we could have really taken advantage of his MVP caliber years. But great player, great player, and we're lucky to have him. So yeah, that's the low key. And that looks, to be honest, although Lynn has a very good point with Weaver, I think by and large everyone agrees with Goldschmidt. So that's the low key MVP. The Clutch Award.
This is where I had Lee. Every time you felt like the Yankees were starting to gain momentum, Lee would come to the plate and just completely swing the momentum of the series back to the Giants. And the quality of his bats, the impact throughout the series, that's where I had no choice but to give it to Lee.
That's fair. Rob?
I have Dave Sims for saving me from having to listen to the Yes broadcast, because apparently they were talking nonsense for a good 20 minutes yesterday. Donald was telling me about it, and I'm glad I didn't hear it, because I've been listening to Dave Sims call the games instead of that big-headed buffoon Michael Kay. So I'm giving it to my boy Dave Sims. He could actually get 2 awards here, but yeah, giving it the Clutch Award to the voice of the New York Yankees, Dave Sims.
I love that. I'm going to give it to Ben Rice. Ben Rice deserves another shout out, man. That guy has been coming in the clutch a lot so far this year. And I mean, you can almost pencil him in for this award, because his at-bats have been super clutch this year. And he had another good series. Ben Rice is just the man. And big salute to him. So Ben Rice for me. And your dad, Mr. Barrows, completely agrees. Rice, baby. I'm not very good at Spanish, but what's the Spanish for rice? Oros?
Oros.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Claro, Oros.
Oros. The chat. Who have the chat got?
We got some Lee. We got Weaver for a couple guys are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Weaver again.
Lynn's going Weaver. All right, so we're going to give it to Weaver. Weaver is the Clutch Award winner. Let's go with the Pitching Award. Let's start with Rob.
I'm going to give it to Will Warren. He needed a start like this, especially with the night before being that absolute clunker from Redacted. But yeah, Will Warren needed a start like that, and I want to give him a shout out because he looked really good. It was probably his best start in the majors, so we need more of that. Hopefully it's a sign of things to come for him. He can get himself on a nice streak. So Will Warren getting his award.
Uncle T.
Yeah, I had Warren as well. Your first major league win, and really after the game we had prior, like to Rob's point, to come out and get the Yankees off to the right start that they needed. I think that takes poise that you don't really see a lot with a rookie. There was no panic. He went out and he did his thing. He earned a win. So Warren got the pitching award.
And the chat is basically unanimous. Warren all the way, Duran, Mr. Barros, Ken, Sunil, Len, all these guys are all going Warren. Thus, I have to agree with the chat. I'm going to go with Warren. Congratulations to him. He pitched pretty well. Really tough situation to be in, kind of as the stopper after that brutal game one loss. He did really well as a stopper, pitched very well, kept them off the scoreboard, did his thing, allowed our bats to come through. So, yeah, he definitely gets the pitching award. Salute to him for his first W. Let's go with the Aaron Boone out of 10. Let's start with Tats.
I went with a 7. I don't think there was anything he could have done that would have swayed it either way. So I didn't want to really go down the middle because he's working with what he has. And I do like the fact that he's actually been I think he's still another series where he handled the pen really well and did not overuse any of the arms after Stroman only went 2 outs. I thought he handled that game really well to keep the Yankees in it to maybe have a chance to climb back. So I gave him a little bit of a bonus point for that. So I went with a 7 out of 10.
It's fair, Rob.
Ken brings up a good point about him being the MVP for stopping that game. But we lost the series. I can't give him. I mean, I know he didn't do anything to cost us these games, but I went with a 6. I can't give him too much praise. He didn't make any like great moves in the one win we did have. He didn't help us win yesterday with any moves, and no changes were made. So it wasn't a terrible series by any means by him. He didn't cost us games, but we also lost 2 out of 3, and one of those losses was pretty damn bad. So can't give him too much praise for it. A 6. It's still plus, it's above middle of the pack. So,
I'm going to give him a 7 purely for stopping that game because it looked like the umpires were ready to just to keep it playing in the torrential downpour. The Yankees were getting their asses handed to them, and the Yankees were probably about 3 or 4 pitches away from going in and starting using like outfield players to pitch because we were absolutely racing through our bullpen, and by Aaron Boone basically complaining and getting that game called off, he saved his bullpen because that would have been a disaster. So for that alone, he gets a high rating. The only thing that you could argue that he did wrong was to allow Rodon to pitch to Lee for that second time, for that key at bat. But that's still putting that hanging curve is still on Rodon. But that's the only thing I could really pinpoint on Boone, which is still pretty big. But by and large, I think Boone probably saved what would have been a sweep had he not canceled game 1 early, because I think the bullpen would have been shot for game 2, and then we would have been in some big trouble. So he actually gets a lot of credit for that. So a good shout out by Ken there. Let's go with you're my boy Blue. You're my boy Blue. You're my boy Blue. You're my boy. I'm giving it to JC Escara for his RBI. You're my boy, and I love that little celebration. Yeah, the little Uber driver celebration. And so you're my boy, JC Escara.
I went with. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tats. Go.
Yeah, I originally I was thinking about Escara, but I stuck with Weaver, who was my original go-to. This I was looking at this morning. I'm sticking with what I had. I had Weaver. I think he's been outstanding. He continues to constantly come out of the pen and bail this team out. So I'm sticking with Weaver.
Yeah, I'm going with Dominguez. I think he had a good series. He had a couple opposite field hits. I want to see him get on a good streak. Just keep swinging the bat well. We need his bat in the bottom of that order to get going. We have a lot of guys struggling right now. Bellinger, Jazz, to name a couple. It'd be nice if with Volpe starting to come down earth a little bit. We need Dominguez to get the bat going, and it was a good series for him, and it was an otherwise bad series. He put together a couple of good games in a row, so I want to give the Martian some love.
Now the L. The L. There's so many L's. I was actually going to give it to Jazz Chisholm before he hit that home run. He was on another offer. He was about to go for offer for the series again. He was about to go 0 for 25. So he saved the day with that home run. Rodon absolutely can make that argument that Rodon's the L. But I'm actually going to give the L to Michael Kay. Now, still, Michael Kay is I'm not going to just destroy the guy because, I grew up with this guy. He's like, he was great for a long, long time, but he's either getting really bored of the Yankees in his old age because he spent an entire half inning talking about candy bars, specifically the Reggie Jackson candy bar. And it was the most boring half inning where Paul O'Neill was talking about it, Marakovich was talking about frozen Reggie bars, and Michael Kay kept going, talking about it, while plays are happening in front of him, and we're focusing on the Reggie bars. I could care less. But the worst thing that he did was when he tried to do the promo for the Giancarlo Stanton bobblehead. There is they're going to do a Jedi Star Wars bobblehead, and Michael Kay, who's 1,000 years old, has never seen Star Wars before, which is pretty impressive because I'm hardly a Star Wars guy. I don't watch the modern woke wars. I'm very much a George Lucas Star Wars guy from the 70s. You're telling me that never once in your life have you ever heard of the term Jedi? It's part of modern culture.
Yep.
Like it's something like, even if you've never watched the movie, you know what Jedi is. It's like you know where the line "you're going to need a bigger boat" comes from, even if you've never watched Jaws. It's just part of modern culture. It's there. It's in the lexicon. And somehow Michael Kay, who promotes himself as the wordsmith of baseball, the great mind of baseball, doesn't know what Jedi is. He pronounced it as Jedi. Oh, get yourself a Giancarlo Stanton Jedi bobblehead. A Jedi bobblehead. You get the L.
I think with a head that big, he know how to say the word Jedi.
Yeah, right.
Jedi. Come on, Jedi.
Looks like the guy from freaking, what was it, Megamind?
He is Megamind. Yeah, that big ass head. But if you say that to him, he gets all defensive. But he'll tell you he doesn't care, but he certainly does. There was one point I did watch for like a couple of innings because WFAN was crapping out, or the MLB's TV feed was, and it sounded like O'Neill cut off Kay at the end of an inning, and he just went. It was an awkward silence for like 5 seconds. And I was like, I gotta get the radio feedback on me because I can't deal with these. Like it's like Kay was bothered that O'Neill kind of cut him off, and I'm thinking, of all people, you should not be getting mad at. It's Paul O'Neill because this guy puts up with you on a daily basis.
And it's Paul O'Neill. When he wants to speak, you shut up and you listen.
Well, in fairness, Paul O'Neill got his own back because apparently Paul O'Neill went to the Giants announcer and says, "You are the greatest announcer I've ever heard." And Michael Kay took offense of it and talked about it on the show yesterday, during the live cast yesterday, saying, "You've been working with me for 24 years." And I'm that far away from the Giants announcer? And Paul O'Neill was like, so
it's John Miller. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
Loved it. Anyway, we move on. Anybody else got the L? Looks like
My L went to, I gave mine to Hicks, not to Hicks. I originally had him as my Hicks Award, and I switched it up. I'm giving. This is what happens when we go on a tandem. My L went to Stroman. He was enough said.
I gave it to Rodon. He made the worst pitch you can possibly make to a guy that's kicked his ass already in the series. It's terrible pitch, and it's again otherwise a great start. One pitch ruined everything, and it cost us a game. It literally cost us a series. That one pitch, we would have won the game if not for that pitch. So I got to give. You talk about L's. You got to give that to Rodon.
So let's get into the best award, the Aaron Hicks Award. There he is. There's the man himself, staring at the wall, staring at his feet. There's that turd himself. So let's give the Aaron Hicks Award out. Uncle Tats, who's your Aaron Hicks Award winner?
Mother Nature. How many days do the Yankees have to play in cold, rainy freaking weather? It seems like this storm is probably all over the freaking country right now. Where's the fucking sunshine? Please. Just, we finally got a little bit yesterday and it didn't freaking help. But, it's got to take, and my argument, my another point to it, when you are in cold, rainy weather over and over and over again every day, it takes a mental toll on. Like it gets dreary. It ruins your mood. It's hard to become positive when you're in that type of weather. I'm tired. Bring the summer, and I hate the heat, but I've had enough. I'm ready for the heat. I need the summer to come.
If I had a crystal ball, I can tell you right now that in like 2 months he's going to be saying, "I sure wish it was a little bit cooler out."
Oh yeah. You know me. See, that's why I said I hate the summer, but I'm ready for the weather.
I guarantee you guys in June or July we'll do an award segment where the L or the Hicks Award is going to the Heat. We'll probably forget about this, and you can remind us. But I can almost guarantee it that at some point this year, Tats is giving an L or a Hicks Award to the summer weather. It's going to happen. Mother Nature, you're not safe from Uncle Tats' wrath.
No. You're absolutely right on that.
My Hicks Award is going to the $18 million redacted starting pitcher. I won't say his name anymore, but you should know who that is. Mr. I'm a starter. I'm not competing for a spot. I'm giving you 180 innings. You're giving us a third of an inning is what you're giving us. So take the Hicks Award. I hope we don't see you much anymore. You talk the talk, you certainly don't walk the walk, my friend. And if there's anyone that deserves the worst of the worst for this series, other than Michael Kay and his giant head, it's redacted. I'm not saying his name anymore.
Well, I'll say his name for you because he is my Aaron Hicks Award winner. Now, side story, after his 2/3 of an inning, which he managed, my cousin Joe, salute to you, bro. You're watching. We're working in Boston. He actually texted me afterwards, and he goes, "I am accepting no other answer for the Aaron Hicks Award other than Marcus Stroman." So, in honor of my cousin, love you, bro. You were spot on. There is no other winner for the Aaron Hicks Award winner other than Marcus Stroman. He is the archdiocese of ass. He is the Rachel Zegler of entitlement. He is the only pitcher I could think of who would make you go, wonder what Kagawa's doing these days. He is an absolute disaster. He can't pitch. He sucks. He's entitled. He's arrogant. He's overpaid. He is so bad. He's the only one that could actually make your playoff chances decrease by him staying healthy. He is an absolute... I was about to go on a swearing rant, but I'm not going to do that because it's a kids show. He is a clown, and he must be removed firmly from this rotation. And that, thus, is the Aaron Hicks Award winner. We might need to change the title of this award segment next year to the Marcus Stroman Award because he is running away with it. He's making you think, you know what, Aaron Hicks wasn't actually that bad. That's how bad Stroman is.
That's pretty bad.
For the contract, I mean, what Hicks get 10 a year?
Yeah.
His production was probably not 10 million a year, but it was certainly closer to the 10 million than Stroman is to his 18 million. I said his name. God damn it. I already went back on my give me an L award for that. Redacted is not earning any bit of that $18 million. Not even close.
The Archdiocese of Ass. Yeah, I came up with it. I'm pretty proud of it. Thank you.
You know, it did bother me that so quick after the game that it was like, oh, he's
Yes,
he's
she
going
does.
on the IL. Yeah, she's terrible. But it's how quick he was on the IL. Like when you saw this coming, and it's like, oh, I don't care if it's I don't care if they get in trouble for putting him on the IL if he's not really hurt, but he's got to disappear for a little while. And I think what makes me think that this is something where they're just trying to get rid of him and just kind of put him off to the side and let people forget is that we're gonna have Schmidt coming back, and I think that's something positive we can have in our heads as we go further into the week.
Len, if you want to slide in my DMs, you can be my agent, and you can contact Vegas for it. Go for it, bro. Thank you, Len.
Yes, Anna, he is he who shall not be named. I would rather say Voldemort's name than the other guy. Scrub. Just angry now.
Yeah, now
$18.5 million. You can't get me through one inning. Yet there were people on Twitter saying, I'm glad we didn't get Yamamoto. You fucking
right.
morons.
Do they watch the games?
Yamamoto just is throwing gem after gem after gem, throwing gas, blowing it by you, 98. Hey, you want to throw him a splitter? Go ahead, throw him a splitter. The dude's one of the best pitchers already in baseball. You got overpaid. Stroman was a better deal. Was it? Stroman didn't give you a goddamn inning the other night.
Yeah, Pavano over Stroman.
He didn't give you an inning. He managed 2/3 before crapping his pants.
And Ken's asking if we really think Schmidt is ready to come back. I think he is. You see, you get the reports of all the, his 2 outings. He's looking strong. His command is there. So, they could give him one more, minor league start, but then, who are you going to put in the rotation? Because now if Stroman's going to the IL, if you're going to give him a minor league start, might as well just bring him up.
Yeah, he'll be on a pitch limit, but 75% of Clark Schmidt's better than Voldemort, so you take it.
Well, that is going to wrap things up for us today. Do wish that everybody does enjoy the rest of their day. We will be back on Wednesday. Thank you, everybody that did come hang out. We always appreciate everybody that's in the chat. And if you are tired of the Yes broadcast, and if you have not checked out the radio broadcast, there are channels. NFV from the Strike Zone does the play-by-play, as well as a couple of other channels. So there are alternatives for those that wish to do so. So definitely check them out. So with that, make sure you hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out, your friends, your family. The stream is on the corner. I am Uncle Tats with Rob Donald. This is the Pinstripe Chronicles. Wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.